Most insurance agency owners are still manually answering emails, updating spreadsheets, and chasing renewals. Now, this agency automated all of it using a single Claude Code system, which I call an AIOS or an AI operating system. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how that works, what it automates for insurance agencies, and why the ones that don't build this within the next 6 months are going to be left behind in 2027. And make sure to stay until the end because I'll be doing a live demo of this. Now, in order to figure out how an AIOS can automate an insurance agency, we first have to figure out what an AIOS actually is. And that's what we'll be breaking down right now. Essentially, an AI operating system, whether it's for insurance agencies or pretty much any other business, is going to be a productivity system with AI. So this is usually going to be a 3-pillar system, something like an executive AI assistant, flexible workflows, as well as easy management of whatever data or things like leads you need. And the 3 most straightforward ways to currently automate an agency are going to be Claude Code, agentic workflows, as well as custom software. Now, if this all sounds scary, let me break it down in simple words, starting off with Claude Code. This is basically an AI agent or assistant that can perform tasks using SOPs across various platforms. So it's almost like a personal assistant, or sometimes they can be as powerful as essentially being the right hand of your business. And when I say that it uses SOPs to perform tasks across various platforms, let's use an email campaign as an example. So let's say you're an insurance broker and you're looking to get some more referral partners for your agency this quarter. What the AI agent can actually do if it has an SOP on how to set up your entire campaign, which can mean targeting and filtering for leads, and then getting those leads, qualifying those leads. It will basically need a set of guidelines to then perform this. And setting up a campaign doesn't just happen on one screen. It involves various platforms, so you have to source leads from one platform, you have to put them into a usable format with another platform, and then you have to upload them to something that can send emails, and so on. So this can perform the tasks that you're used to doing using pretty much the exact same thing. So an SOP for an employee is just as much an SOP for an AI agent. The second pillar are going to be agentic workflows. Now, agentic workflows are basically just workflows or processes that have AI in some steps or have it in between. So going back to the cold email campaign example, let's say you're targeting referral partners and the referral partner replied. Now, you don't want to reply to them at the end of the day at 5 p.m. So you set up something like an agentic workflow. As soon as somebody replies, this agentic workflow realizes that, boom, you got a reply. Because it's set up to perform a single function, in this case, it could be replying to the referral partner and getting them booked in on your calendar link or whatever it may be. This is just a single function focused process to automate a repetitive task. And this could also go for something like proposal generation, maybe getting a quote for a lead, or anything else that you can put your mind to. Now, some things like proposal generation can of course be handled by your AI agent or assistant. Of course, it's going to vary from agency to agency. If your proposal generation system is very refined and it's very complex, you might want an AI agent or assistant to do it, but if it's usually consistent and there aren't many variables at play, you can have something like an agentic workflow do it. And the last pillar is going to be custom software. I'm sure this is probably going to be the most familiar for any of us. And this is just custom clickable software with screens that you can manage things in. So this is like your typical CRM. And the reason we're not using something like an AI agent or assistant is because even though they're very powerful, you can have conversations with them and you can get a lot done with them. Sometimes you still need a visual aspect to the things you're doing because nobody would want a CRM that's in the form of a conversation with an AI. That's not organized and that's really not what you're used to. And in this day and age, creating your own software is extremely easy. There are numerous benefits to it. You save on costs, you cater everything to your pipeline and your sales cycle, and you have something that you can easily teach to anyone who comes your way. So whether it's a new employee or someone else, you already know what you've built inside out. So it's very easy to push forward its usage. And now that you hopefully understand what the 3 pillars for an AI operating system for insurance agencies are, let's move on to this diagram over here. What you'll notice is that in the middle, we have something called the brain. And surrounding the brain, we have a bunch of other smaller boxes, which are also individual operating systems, but they each have a different name like Context OS, Data OS, Compliance OS, and all of that good stuff. And the way this works is that in the middle, you have your brain. This brain is essentially the AI behind it. So it's the exact same thing as chatting with ChatGPT or Claude. It's an AI model behind it, but what makes it different are 3 things. This is the context dump, the high-level instructions, as well as your insurance agency DNA. And it should be pretty clear what this is about. A context dump is just any relevant information you can think of that's useful for your business and for yourself. High-level instructions are basically simple directions and goals that you have for this AI to complete. And the insurance agency DNA is basically anything that's unique to your agency specifically. So this is the name of your agency, the location of your agency, pretty much anything that gives the AI more context on who you are. Because the AI that we're used to, like ChatGPT, does not always have very good context about who you are. So think of this as a much more advanced system that knows you and your business. Each of these boxes is a relevant component of a certain business. In the case of insurance agencies, they would benefit from one or more of these systems. Now, I'll walk through each of these 8 separate components here, but what I want you to do right now as a mental exercise is listen to what each of these can help you with and pick out the 2 or 3 that you would consider to be the most helpful for you. Because not all of this will apply to your agency, because obviously we're given separate and unique contexts to this AI, and for no 2 insurance agencies, will the context be exactly the same. So usually the first pillar in an AI operating system for an agency is going to be the context OS. Now this is usually required because obviously it forms the foundation for the AI agent. Context is actually oftentimes more important than instructions. So think of this in this situation that you're maybe moving homes and you have a certain size box in which only a certain amount of things can fit in. This is going to be your box for throwing all the information about your agency inside of you. So this could be the agency SOP for onboarding and taking care of a lead, carrier guides filled with very specific information, as well as any policy templates that you may have. Moving on, we have the data OS. If the context OS is the information that tells who you are and why you're doing it, the data OS is going to act as the source of truth for what you're actually doing. So think of this as a place where you would connect all of your stats. This could mean new premiums and claims, any sort of commission tracking, loss ratios, churn, and that. And for one thing, the data OS can be connected to something like an AMS or your agency management system so that you actually have real-time information. They're able to suggest ideas for you that are actually accurate and actionable. Now, honestly, even using the context OS and the data OS, you can get a long way because at the very least, this is already a powerful advisor you have by your side. Even though I would recommend adding one or more of the other ones. Something that we've seen be useful is a meeting intel OS. So this can give you analysis on your calls as well as insights. So what this can do is summarize client calls, and give you notes about meetings with carriers, and extract action items. For instance, if you have a new referral partner, you'll probably want to have all of the actionables by your side so that you don't mess anything up. Moving on, we're going to have the daily brief OS. It's more like your morning coffee, actually. This is going to give you any overnight alerts, any pipeline changes, and you can even use it for more complex things like SWOT analysis. Another powerful one is the communications OS. This can connect to something like your email, your SMS, your Slack, and it can handle the triage as well as the response. So this can include something like the inbox summarization. Maybe you don't want to scroll through 10,000 emails. You just want to only get the emails that you need, auto draft replies for you, and also have routing. And another thing that I didn't mention here is alerts, because if one of your clients has a serious issue, you want to prioritize client satisfaction, you want to get rid of the churn, and you want to stay on track and on top of anything you have. Following this, we can just have something as simple as a productivity OS. And this can include task management as well as a renewals calendar. So this can actually look at something like maybe your renewals database or spreadsheet, and it can create calendar events and reminders for the exact dates that you need to follow up with those people. It can do daily check-ins with you. You can track your projects, whatever it honestly may be, whatever you can track relating to your productivity and your time. The AI can too. Following that, we're going to have the Capture OS. This is probably one of the most high leverage and high impact systems, but only if done correctly. So because this includes something as important as leads and quotes, having things like new lead routing, quote request triage, as well as automated follow-up sequences for your leads can be extremely helpful. Of course, sales and anything lead facing should usually be handled by you, but because of the simple fact that you can wire the brain to have all of the information that you want it to and generate answers and take action in the way that you want, this actually becomes very reliable. And another really obvious thing that I for some reason forgot to include here is actually going to be lead generation. And to be absolutely clear, lead generation is definitely one of the harder, if not the hardest things to automate with an executive assistant like this, but I can confidently say that at least some aspects of the lead generation can be automated successfully. So for instance, we've launched various email campaigns, whether it's for referral partner generation for insurance agents or for ourselves, and so far the results have been awesome. To get our executive assistants up and running, so they do the targeting and the filtering for our leads. They actually obtain the leads and put them into a spreadsheet for us and use AI to qualify all of the leads, remove the leads that aren't qualified for our offers, and put them into an email campaign that is pretty much ready for us. And as you can see here, with the campaign that we pretty much spent 5 minutes instructing the agent to set up, got us a 5% reply rate. It got us 146 opportunities, so this is over a third of a million in pipeline actually. And here's the second campaign as well. But really what I'm trying to say here is that the hardest tasks like lead generation are able to be automated. So if you can automate something as complex, the heart and soul of your business, you can definitely automate some of the smaller things, like a productivity OS we discussed before, meaning daily check-ins, task management, simple reminders on your calendar for renewals that go a long way, and things like daily briefs. Honestly, at this point, it might seem like magic to you, but this is becoming the new norm. Not using AI to replace all of your work, fire your employees, or anything like that. You're using it to amplify your own productivity, amplify your own efficiency, and also amplify the leverage that you're getting per unit of work. So what used to be a linear process of you putting in 1 unit of effort and moving one step ahead is now more of an exponential process where you start small in the building phase, and as you gradually improve, this shoots up and you're able to just unlock such unimaginable productivity to the point where you can't even believe it yourself. And sometimes the result is not productivity, but spending less time on the things that are time consuming, as we saw here. So this wasn't an exponential curve in terms of the productivity that we got from it. This was an exponential curve in terms of the leverage that we got from it. So we spent 5 minutes instructing the agent to set this up, and we got over a third of a million in pipeline. So it's really not just productivity at this point, even though there's a productivity operating system here. It's truly like a second engine that you're adding to a car to keep it moving even faster. And if that wasn't enough, we'll wrap up with the compliance OS. This is really important. Of course, insurance is a compliance-heavy industry. This can involve things like E&O documentation, state compliance, carrier audits, whatever it may be concerning compliance. At this point, AI does not go stupid or crazy as much. If you give it proper instructions and proper context, I can say that nearly all of the time you'll get something you're satisfied with. And so with this in mind, I hope you can now see how the AI operating system for insurance agencies looks like. We started off with the 3 pillars of agentic workflows, which pretty much specialize in one function, as well as custom software. As you can tell, of course, we mainly focus on this aspect, which is just having an executive assistant or kind of a central brain to automate your operations. But in one of next week's videos, I'll actually be going over agentic workflows as well as custom software, including a 5 AI agent setup that's currently saving or generating insurance agencies $976,000 per year in combined impact. And at this point, you know that it's legitimate because when you're able to do something in 5 minutes and get this much in opportunities, it usually means you're probably on the right track. And of course, besides this, there are a lot more layers that actually go into this. So we can see I have another diagram over here, as well as another one over here. So it doesn't just start and end at the same spot, but it's more of a staircase process. This is just the first few staircases, and maybe these are staircases 8 to 12. So honestly, it's just a process of consistently stacking reliable layers of automation, AI, you name it, to turn your insurance agency into something more powerful. And with that in mind, if you want something like this built for your agency, link in the description, feel free to book a one-on-one consultation with us so we can tell you straight away in 20 minutes whether this is a good fit or not for you, and scope out custom solutions like these for your business specifically. And it is fair to mention that I only work with 3 agencies at a time, so if you're watching this, 1 or 2 spots might still be open. Oh, and make sure to subscribe because next week, as I said, I'm going to be breaking down 5 AI agents that are creating $1 million insurance agencies, as well as exactly how much each of those agents generates or saves for businesses like yours. But otherwise, have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.